Hi guys, a big warm welcome to you to week 2 in this brilliant series, the 7 ways to break out of a rut or a difficult situation. Let me begin by asking you a question. What's the number one thing people say when they're ready to give up? They're ready to, just walk away. They're ready to jack in. The one thing I hear every one of them say is this: they've tried everything and they just have nothing left in the reserve tank. Well, these 7 weeks are designed to help you get 7 gallons of fresh booster fuel to put in your tank. Last week we began with the brilliant idea of the power of a picture, and today I want to deliver a second one to you. Now here's the thing: these I've distilled right down in such simple, practical ways so that you can literally apply them today, and today you could begin to see a radical change in your mood, your health, your atmosphere, and your whole world. So let's get right into the one I have to share with you this week. Now, when I share this with you, don't switch off, because in some sense it's the weirdest one of the 7. It's one that's not talked about. It's one that's overlooked. But I have found that scientifically and in practical experience, when this is applied in a person's life, the transformation is amazing. And so for years, the brilliant neuroscientists have told us that we have something like 50 trillion cells in the body, all waiting for a command from your thoughts or your words. And so if you say, hey, I'm going to have the worst Christmas ever, they will bring you the worst Christmas ever, because they will respond to the commands you give them. Now, in more recent years, neuroscientists have discovered the very opposite is the case. And here is the thing. Here is the number one point I want to share with you today, a habit you can put into practice. It is the power of posture. The power of posture. One professional footballer came to me. He wasn't doing too good. Things weren't looking well for him. He was getting a game and no more. And he had big dreams, but he was going nowhere. And he sat down and expected me to talk about all kinds of things. I said, I'm going to talk about one single thing: your posture. How come you're 2 meters tall, but you play like you're 1.5 meters tall? I got him to change his posture to that of a champion. And in the next 10 days, he was chosen in the squad for his country. So what I want to say to you is this: that this is so powerful, and yet it's so simple. The danger is you just go, oh, I'll move on to the next one. But this is vitally important for your mood, your health, and your atmosphere. I discovered this in one of the poorest countries in the world, a little country called Guyana. Many years ago, I was flying home. And on that flight, the pilot announced as we're coming over the Caribbean, I got bad news for you all. There are hurricanes and lightning beginning to come in the direction of the aircraft. We're going to have to land the aircraft, emergency landing, in one of the Caribbean islands. He got down to a few hundred meters from the airport, and boom, it got hit with the hurricane. He had to go back up again. I looked at everyone's posture on the flight, and at this point, not too bad. But on the 4th attempt, aborted attempt to land that aircraft, the posture was completely changed. And I noticed 7 different changes in the posture. Some were crying, some were panicking, some were screaming, as he said, as he announced, we don't have enough fuel to go on to the next place, so I'm going to have to force it through the hurricane this time, possibly damaging the landing gear, but we should be okay. And as he was about to force it through, panic went through the aircraft. Then I saw 7 changes in the body posture as fear took over confidence. And so I decided to stand up, run up and down the flight, and ask everybody who needs some peace. Suppose that. And all I was doing was trying to change the picture of panic to peace, so change their posture. And hands went up all over the place. And I did a very simple thing, never done before. I just tapped each one on the head and said, peace. And their posture changed and the panic left. Something that I don't fully understand happened in that moment. And so here is the 7 different things I saw in their posture. And to stay in depression and to stay downcast, you have to stay in these 7. The first one I saw was they slumped their shoulders. Then they put their head down. Then they frowned. Then they were mumbling rather than speaking with confidence. Their knuckles was beginning to go white as they were getting stressed and distressed. They began to slow down everything they did, and they began to droop their eyes. Well, the brilliant thing that neuroscience has taught us is this. To stay in depression, you have to look down. To access that part of the brain, you have to look down. Find me a person that's depressed, heavily depressed, and I'll find you a person with at least 6 or 7 of these going on. And I experimented one day in a meeting with a lady who was brought to me, and 4 or 5 of her friends had been diagnosed with ME. And she was depressed, heavy, looking down, and all these 7 were going on. But these 5 were close friends, and I could see a copycat thing was kicking in. A bit of like the cluster effect when one person commits suicide. And so I did something completely weird. I changed her posture without even telling her. As she was sitting there all slumped and whatever, I shouted out, "Wow, can you believe the size of that spider?" The ceiling, the roof at that time was about 35 feet high, so she lifted her head and was straining to see this spider for a minute. Once we got over the 45 seconds time period, I could see everything about her is beginning to change. She's staring, she's looking, she's getting stronger, she's straightening her shoulders. And I said, "Could you do me a favor? Could you go, you're a little bit weary, go and put some cold water, sprinkle some cold water on your face, get a cup of tea, come back and carry on with the interview." When she came back, everything about her changed. Purely and simply because looking up and changing her posture, she was accessing a completely different part of her brain. And I was able to announce to her and ask her, "Where has your ME gone? All of a sudden. You've been like this for 3 months, slumped, no life there. Now your shoulders are back, you're breathing deep, you're full of energy." And I said, "What you have is a copycat behavior. And if you copy a depressed person's body posture, you'll soon be in depression." And so here's the brilliant thing. Your body has about 50 trillion cells in it, all moving around and doing their job, waiting on your commands. And neuroscience has found that if you put your body in the posture of a champion, you've never seen the great Ronaldo score a goal with his shoulders down and drooped. Every single goal he scores, he stands like this. And so many champions you can see this from. The greatest champions I've ever seen, and even met some this week, I met 2 this week, their posture is phenomenal because your cells in your body will take the commands from your worst thoughts and from your posture. So even if you don't feel like it, you put your body in the posture of a champion and watch what happens. People tell me all the time, "Oh, I'm so depressed, I'm so struggling, I'm not making it because I'm so full of emotions." Listen, let's clarify this. You don't have many emotions. Science will tell you the human brain only has 2 emotions. like two trees growing in your brain. One is fear and one is love. Whichever one you feed is the one that's ruling in your life right now. So if you feed the fear tree with anxiety, negative thoughts, negative postures, and negative words, then you're growing that tree and you're losing love for yourself, and you're losing love for life, you're losing love for your world. So I want to encourage you today to do something that'll take you 15 minutes. And you will see a radical transformation in your mood, your health, your energy, your results, and your atmosphere. So I want to suggest to you that you change the commands you're sending to your two emotions, and you change the commands you're sending to every cell in your body. So here's the thing. If you were born to rule and reign in your mother's womb, if you were born like the perfect you, then if you begin to walk and act and have the posture of the better you, the perfect you, the champion you, your whole being will be radically transformed in minutes. It's as quick as that. So here's what I want to suggest to you, and I could make this all kind of complicated and give you all kinds of scientific facts, but I'm trying to make this as simple and as powerful as I can to help you begin today to radically break out of this mood, this rut, this impossibility, this different situation. So here we go. Number one, you look at an ambassador stepping out an aircraft from any country, and you will see all 7 of these in his posture. They never come out there drooping like a loser, chin down, defeated, got the world on the shoulder, even though they don't feel like it. And here's the thing, this has got nothing to do with your feelings. This is to do with your decisions. You're either going to walk, eat, sleep, and breathe like a champion, or a loser. And we have the power to do that within us. So number one, next time you're walking anywhere, remind yourself at all times to hold your head high. 2, put your shoulders back as far as you can. Number 3, smile big. Number 4, walk 3 inches taller than you've ever walked. Number 4, put a spring in your step and walk a little bit faster. Number 6, when you're speaking in the room, don't speak to your knees, but speak to the back wall. Take your voice from the back of your throat and project it to the back wall, like you're speaking to the universe, full of confidence. And finally, number 7, breathe deep at all times. Now the thing is, you were formed to be more than a conqueror. You were formed to rule and reign in life. You were formed in your mother's womb to face any giant and conquer any giant. And I promise you, even though you don't feel like it, if you will begin to walk, to think, to speak, and to live like a champion, especially when you don't feel it, then your cells in your body and your mood and your aches and pains and your family and your atmosphere will begin to radically change before your eyes, because that is the power you have within you. Now here is the most important and final thing that I'm about to say. Do not let the 80% plus negative self-talk that's going on in you right now to begin to tell you this is too big, this is too hard, this is too simple. We had a great meeting on Sunday night with the Time for Change group, and 3 guys I spoke to. One was Jim Cusick, one was Aaron Dowds, and one was Darren Campbell. All three doing great and amazing things. And the one thing that struck me, they had brilliant posture. And they had the posture of winners and not losers. And people look for all kinds of chemicals, they look for all kinds of medicines, and you have to take your medicine if that's what the doctors told you to do. We never go against what the professionals are telling you, but alongside of all that, you could do all these things and take all the medical information. My wife and I, 3 years ago, we had x-rays on our knee. My wife had fell and smashed her knee on a curb, a pavement, and my knee was just worn down. I had injections, I had the Scotland physio, Pip Yates, check it. I had the surgeons, I had the medical staff x-ray it, and they decided both of us needed surgery. But we did exactly what we do when we get an ache or a pain, and the pain tells us it's arthritis and it tells us this. We did not allow those things to dictate the way we walk and the way we talk and we think. And we made a radical decision that when something like this, we're not having that. Because the minute you have that, you begin to carry your leg a little bit, struggle a little more, bend up a little more, feel the pain. We completely painted a different picture in our head of health, of strength, and we didn't walk all hobbly. And I know that's not easy for some, and if you have to do that's fine, but we continued to make an effort to change a number of things, especially our posture. And I went to the great, amazing physical trainer, Ollie Jessup, and he began to show me some things that were wrong with my posture. And he made 2 or 3 adjustments over 3 weeks. My wife and I, both of us, cancelled the surgery, and we could run for miles and miles and miles now on these knees with no medicines, no surgery whatsoever. Now that is not decrying people that need to have that, and if we had to have it, we would have. But I just want you to tap into this incredible world of a champion, backed up by science. People say to me, "Oh, do you mean fake it until you make it?" And I say, no, in the world I come from, the language we use is that we minister in season and out of season. So whether we're in a good season or out of a good season, we make a choice to step into the champion's shoes every morning, walk, think, and speak like a champion. And you could do this in the next 15 minutes, even if you're walking to the kitchen to make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Begin practicing for this moment. Next time you go to Starbucks, don't look for the big comfy slouchy chair. Find the one with no back on it that's high, so you have to sit in an uncomfortable position for you right now, but sit with your back straight like a champion, not slouching and not leaning around, but at all times walking, eating, sleeping and breathing with the posture of a champion. And if you will put your body into the champion state in very, very simple ways, you will begin to see a radical change in the way you're feeling, in the way your mood is, the way the depression is, the way your joy is, the way your atmosphere is. Let the world know the champion in you has been a sleeping giant. But the sleeping giant has wakened up. And you're going out tomorrow to let the world see once and for all what the sleeping giant in you looks like by a simple, radical change in your posture. Have a great week, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.